Members, you're very welcome. Governance one. It appears not a lot has changed. Can I ask the Chief Executive to read the notice and summons of meeting?
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon, members. To all members of the Governance and Strategic Planning Committee, you're hereby summoned to attend the monthly meeting of the committee to be held remotely today, Tuesday, the 5th of January, 2021 at 4 o'clock. Alderman Bresland.
Here, John.
Alderman Hussey.
Aye.
Alderman McClintock.
Here, John.
Alderman McCready.
He should be in shortly, John.
Thanks, Hilary. Councillor John Boyle.
Here.
Councillor Michaela Boyle. Councillor Michaela Boyle. Councillor
Here,
Cooper.
John. I'm here, John, and Michaela's, she's definitely online.
Just looking to see if I can see her there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See her there. She's just muted at the moment. Yeah. Okay. Councillor Donnelly.
Oh.
Thanks, Gary. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Duffy. Sandra, are you there?
Yeah, John, sorry, apologies. I'm here, and I also have a message from Michaela saying her internet's just playing her up there at the minute.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Fleming.
And Shaw, John.
Thank you. Councillor Gallagher.
And Shaw.
Thank you. Councillor McKeever. Just looking for Councillor McKeever. Jim, are you there? No. Councillor Mooney. Yeah. Councillor Riley.
Here, John.
Thank you. So just checking, is Alderman McCready with us yet?
He's trying to get in, John.
Okay, thank you. Okay, back to you, Chair.
I think that also takes care of apologies, John.
It does indeed.
Yep, it does indeed. At the meeting, I'd like to remind everyone who is in remote attendance that this meeting will be broadcast live via the Council's YouTube channel. Will be available for viewing by the public and media. The broadcast will also be available for repeated viewing at a later date. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with Council protocol. Members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and to use the chat box facility to highlight a request to speak. Everything in this meeting you are consenting to being filmed, and the use and storage of those images for broadcasting or training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. A copy of the Council's privacy notice may be found on the Council website, www.derrystrabane.com. Members, I have no business of my own, and I have not been notified by anyone that they wish to raise any point under Chairperson's business. So I'm moving straight to item 6. The minutes have already been passed at Council, and its matters are rising on pages 1 to 30 of item 6, if any member has any item.
Chair, Councillor Donnelly, can I come in?
Martin, certainly, yes, okay, come on ahead, Councillor Reddy.
Thanks, Chair. Happy New Year to you and to everybody, council officers and elected colleagues. Chair, just in relation to GSP 179/20, last month we had the deputation in from the Port and Harbour. It goes down through in the minutes to page 13, but on page 13, it was saying that a report would be brought back. Now, it's not on the agenda for today, but I'm conscious that some of the ports in England have a deadline of the 5th of February. I know that's not the position for here in Northern Ireland, but I'm still conscious that if there's a deadline for England for the 5th of February, maybe the deadline for Northern Ireland mightn't be that far behind it. So I'm just wondering if we could ask the council officers continue with that piece of work as mandated in the last meeting, and that we get that report presented to the committee in February, please. Thanks, Chair.
I'm sure members will understand the Christmas period. John, comment?
Yeah, if I could just update through you, Chair. I just had a discussion in and around this issue, anticipating a potential question by members on it. And as far as we are aware, members, the process here, as outlined at the last meeting, is a completely different proposition to what might be available to ports in GB. And at this moment in time, the conversation that has taken place is both with Invest and between this council, Foylport, Belfast Council and Belfast Port, with any other councils who are interested also joining that conversation. So it's a much more fluid, pardon the pun, space. And is a proposition that is trying to be built up from the ground up, as opposed to replying to a consultation document, as I understand it from Treasury. So a very different type of approach. And as I understand it, the latest is that officials from the Department of Finance are reporting to the Finance Minister on the conversations that are currently taking. We're not aware at this minute in time of a deadline of the beginning of February from a Northern Ireland perspective, because the proposition is so different. That's my understanding, Councillor Riley.
Councillor Riley, content?
Yeah, can I thank John for that update, and appreciate the fact that there isn't a timescale as yet placed on Northern Ireland, but it's good to know that that work is continuing. So thank you, Chief Executive, for that update.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. Councillor Donnelly, Gary?
Chair, and Happy New Year to yourself and everybody else. Chair, page 7, where I had said about the report, and full council, I had asked for the minutes to be amended to include the name of the report, which is a report done by the Ben Cave Associates, and it doesn't appear to have been amended. I have spoke to an officer who said that could be sorted, so I just want to put on record if we could amend that to have the name of the report included. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Donnelly. I'm sure.
Sure, there will be no difficulty in doing that. If it hasn't been done to date, we'll make sure it is done.
Thank you to the Executive. Are there any other issues, matters arising? Alderman McCready?
No, Chair, just to let you know I'm online. Thanks.
Okay, Alderman McCready, thank you. There being no other items, can we move to, or no other matters arising, can we move to item 7, the 6 monthly progress report? I'm not sure who's taking it, John. You're muted. Chief Executive, you're muted.
It's unusual. Ellen Cavan is with us this afternoon to take us through that, Chair.
Thank you. Over to you, Ellen.
Through you, Chair, and Happy New Year, everyone. The purpose of this particular report is to advise of and seek members' comments and endorsement in relation to the 6 monthly progress report.
Ellen, I don't know about anybody else, but you're very low on volume.
Okay. I'll try again. And shout.
It's a wee bit better.
I'm having some IT difficulties. Maybe that's it. The purpose of the report is to advise of and seek members' comments and endorsement in relation to the 6 monthly progress report against the strategic planning and support delivery plan for 2021. As indicated in the report, this report forms part of the Council's Planning Improvement and Performance Review Framework, and indeed, as I say, covers the period of the 1st of April to the 30th of September. As the report indicates, despite the challenges presented by COVID, for the 6 month period, we were probably at 43% overall delivery of the plan. Now, in normal circumstances, we would expect about 50%. So as I say, that despite the challenges, as I say, we're almost in line with expectations. And obviously, work has been progressed from the end of September till now as well in advancing the activities within that plan. The recommendation in front of members this afternoon is really that, subject to your comments, the 6th monthly report is endorsed. Thank you, members.
I have Councillor Cooper.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks to Ellen for the report. Again, we appreciate the COVID situation has obviously an impact across all departments. The fact we're still in 43% is progress in itself. It shows the amount of work that's been done. Just a couple of wee individual elements just to flag up. I mean, we're very happy that particularly the e-tendering process has now been completed. I think that's going to have a massive impact in terms of smoothing the tendering process in general, making it much more user-friendly, and for those who are submitting tenders as well. And the progress on the heads of terms for city deal is very welcome from our perspective. Just a couple of wee areas where we would want to see, hopefully, a bit of fast tracking. They bring us back up to speed. The inequality audit for council services, if that could be looked at with a bit of urgency, and also recruiting people with disabilities. The harmonisation of staff, obviously there's still some areas there around the harmonisation of the two councils that still need to be completed, and obviously community planning. I noticed some of the figures there are quite low, but again, probably because of COVID, but making sure that that's looked at obviously with a bit of urgency. The other wee specific one, there was the purchase to pay system sitting at 40%. I know that many of our reps and probably across the board will get complaints about late payments in some cases from suppliers and all sorts of other people who are billing council. So if we can get that up to speed as quickly as possible, just to again streamline that process. Again, we talked about the new website being done by council. A lot of this stuff could end up being dealt with through that work as well. But in particular, that payment system, I think we want to get that up to speed, so we're not getting people coming back. So, but in general terms, happy with the direction of travel, and hopefully now with at some point lockdown easing, that we'll get up to speed in some of those areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cooper. Alan, John, anybody want to come back on Councillor Cooper's points?
Well, Chair, not specifically, other than to say the items, the items that are raised today, plus the items that are showing no progress so far, we will be focusing on as an officer team. Some of those we may be coming back to say, look, members, it's not been possible to take those forward this year, but we will be bringing forward a report with commentary around that in the next number of months, and we'll pay particular focus to those that are raised today.
Thank you, Chief Executive. No response from Alan. You're okay on it, grand. Alderman McClintock.
Thanks, Chair, for letting me in. Just in a similar vein to Councillor Cooper, to welcome the report. We're obviously in very challenging times, and that is reflected obviously in the report. But if that was an endorsement from Councillor Cooper, I would be happy to second that if required. I understand that you will progress things as quickly as possible, but obviously the COVID situation has made things very difficult, and I understand that there will be areas which you won't be able to progress. So happy to second that. I think it was an endorsement from Councillor Cooper. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other member? It's been proposed by Councillor Cooper, seconded by Alderman McClintock, that the recommendation be adopted. I have no objections to that, so I'm taking that as agreed. Members are content to move on to item 8, the Youth Focused Participatory Budget Pilot Update. Strategic Business Manager, that yourself, Rachel?
That's me, Chair. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Welcome. Carry on.
All members. So the purpose of this report, Chair, members, is to update you on the youth-focused participatory budgeting pilot that's been carried out as part of the Strategic Growth Partnerships participation in the Embedding Wellbeing in Northern Ireland project. It's generally been overseen by the Community Planning Partnership, but we're fortunate enough to give you some time today to just give you an update on where we are with the project. I suppose the headline that I would like to say to you all members today is this is the first time that a youth co-designed participatory budgeting process has been rolled out in Northern Ireland. So it's a pilot, and I suppose given the current COVID context, working on a best practice citizen engagement programme in a context in which engagement is difficult has been intense but certainly worthwhile. We've had community places working with us throughout this process. They're the gurus, if you would like to say, in terms of PB, and have helped us work step by step through this process. They link into regional networks within Northern Ireland and the UK and globally regarding PB and best practice. So just as a means of background, Chair, we agreed back with some young people as a part of a co-design process to deliver a youth-focused participatory budgeting process across the council, and also to devolve it to each of the district electoral areas. So I'm sure you are aware, but for those that may not know, participatory budgeting involves citizens having a say on how public money is being spent, and they have to vote on how community projects money will be spent on community projects in their local area. It's done quite a lot in many other cities across the world, and it actually originated from South America. New York and Paris do it quite extensively. And it has been beginning to roll out in Northern Ireland. As I said, this is the first time we've done a youth co-design project in Northern Ireland. It's used quite bigger levels of money are used in other cities globally, but in Northern Ireland so far it's been used in small scale pots. So it's only £20,000 of funding. We've allocated that to 2.5k for each of the 8 DEAs. As a pilot, I suppose, just to sort of learn from the process to see how it goes, what worked and what didn't work. So working with the young people, we agreed that each of the DEAs would get 2,500, and the maximum fund allowed to any project would be £1,000. So we launched it, Chair, with the Mayor on the 8th of September, and looking back at that time, it was a time whenever schools were just reconvening after COVID and young people were getting back into classrooms. It was a particularly busy time for schools and young people. And we worked really hard to try and make sure that we got applications in from each of the 8 DEAs. We did quite a targeted campaign to encourage young people to put forward expressions of interest. And that closed phase 1. So at the end of phase 1, we had a total of 46 applications, and we were really delighted at that point to do that, because obviously we were working on a digital platform. Usually this thing is done very face-to-face basis. It's done meeting groups and going out and meeting young people and things. So to get to that point was really, really positive. Phase 2 of the programme then, we wanted those people that had expressed an interest in submitting an application to submit a wee short video. So each of the applicants were asked to submit a short 2-minute video on what they wanted to spend their money on. We needed that allocated to each of the 8 DEAs. So in order for young people to vote on each of the videos, we needed 3 videos for each DEA. So that they could vote 1, 2, 3 in terms of their preference. Members, you will recall at the last Governance and Strategic Planning Committee, we put forward a paper which outlined that unfortunately Strabane didn't make it through stage 1 in terms of a PB process because we didn't receive enough applications at that point. Now, what we agreed at the last meeting and what we have agreed with the chair of the Local Growth Partnership is the money that we would allocate to PB in the Strabane would be allocated to the Local Growth Partnership so that they could still spend it on young people's activities, but just not on a PB process as such. So it was still ring fence for young people's activities. Members are now updated as we moved into phase 2 in terms of the video submissions. We only received 1 video submission in the Ballyarnett area. So similarly, we are proposing that the money that we allocated to Ballyarnett will be given to the Growth Partnership to deliver youth-focused initiatives, but just not in a PB process. So moving on, we had 31 video submissions all in all, which was fantastic given the context that we're in, and were put forward to the online vote share. So The public vote started at the end of November and closed in mid-December, and we had 18 projects that were successful as a part of the public vote. We had young people voting on their preference in each of the DEAs, and the detail in terms of some of those applications are in 3.8 of your report. You can see who got the top votes in each of the DEAs. So, Chair, I suppose the financial implications is that we're now allocating the 2.5k to Ballyarnett just for normal youth activities. And I suppose it's recommended that members endorse this process. I think I'll go back to what I said at the start. It's fantastic that we're able to run this pilot, given the COVID context and the fact that, and it is best practice in digital engagement. And it's a first for Northern Ireland in the sense that it's the first youth co-design PB process in Northern Ireland. So we're seeking members' endorsement today, Chair, and agreement to do what we did with the Strabane and give the 2.5k to Ballyarnett. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you for that comprehensive report on the issue. Councillor Duffy.
Yeah, thank you, Chair, and Happy New Year to yourself and to all the committee. And I just want to say thank you to Rachel for the report. It's unbelievable the amount of work that has gone into this, particularly at a time when we were under so much restrictions in terms of COVID, and these continue, obviously. But I think that the work that has gone on has been brilliant, and particularly seeing the young people voting on their projects and what they wanted to do. I think the whole participatory budget thing is very successful throughout other countries, and I think that is something that we need to be exploring more. So I am more than happy to endorse the report, and as a member of the Ballyarnett Local Growth Partnership, we will ensure that the money goes to the youth organisations there. So no, happy to endorse the report, and thank you, Rachel, again for all the work that has been carried out on it.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Can I take that as a proposal on the recommendation?
Yes, happy to propose.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Before I get a seconder, I don't see anybody else wishing to speak on this. Just like to note that Councillor Gallagher and Councillor Michaela Boyle have a declared interest in the issue, if that can be noted. Can I have a seconder for the proposal to accept the recommendation?
I second that, Chair. John.
Councillor Boyle, John?
That was me, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Proposed and seconded. I don't hear any dissenting voices. Therefore, I declare the proposal passed, that we accept the key recommendations from Rachel. With our best thanks, Rachel, for that. And I get back on agenda here. The rest of the only other issue is open for information. That's with regard to the Northwest Regional Development Group and the Northwest Strategic Growth Partnership. If there's any member wishes to come in on that, or does the Chief Executive want to comment on it? It's there for information. Okay, no comment from the Chief Executive. Can I make one comment myself, in that I attended the December meeting, enjoyed the December meeting. I think it's regrettable that it takes so long for the actual minutes to come through to ourselves due to the process. And I don't know, John, is it possible that that can be shortcutted in any way? I realise the minutes have to go back for approval before they would actually come to us to be seen. But there were some issues in December that might have been of interest to the committee here presently. To you, John, is there any way of shortcutting that members can be aware and more up to speed and up to date with what's going on in the Northwest Development Group?
I suppose what we possibly could do, Chair, is I don't want to circumvent the authority of the group, obviously, in terms of the minutes. But what we probably could do is bring in a short report closer to each meeting, advising of what was discussed at the meeting or the subject matters that were discussed, and then the minutes would follow. So in other words, in a particular report, you would get the minutes from the previous one 3 months ago, if you like, you would get a list of the items that were discussed on, say, last week's one, but you wouldn't get the minutes of those until 3 months' time. Something of that nature might assist. But of course, it's also anybody who's on the group. If they feel that something is pertinent to a particular committee, they're free to raise the matter at a committee as well.
Certainly understand that, and thank you for that, John. And perhaps in the next meeting, it's something that myself or some other councillor can actually bring up to the group. Just if there is something that's really pertinent, that it can be got to ourselves quicker, and indeed to Donegal County Council.
Sorry for interrupting you again there, Chair. Just to say, for example, if you look at the report under item 9 there, it actually sets out what took place in the Strategic Growth Partnership meeting of the 2nd of December. So it's something akin to that I'm suggesting. So it sets out all of the issues that were actually discussed at the Growth Partnership meeting, even though the minutes won't be appended in relation to that for several weeks yet. So if we can tighten that up, it might keep the flow of information going much more efficiently.
Appreciate that, John, and it would be very, very welcome. Could we note an apology from Councillor McKeever? And can I also note a pecuniary interest in item 12 from Councillor Cooper? It's in the chat box as an employee of Gasyard Trust. And Councillor Cooper will be leaving the meeting once we've dealt with confidential minutes. Thank you, Councillor Cooper, for that. Is there any other item in open business? There being no further item, can I ask for a proposal to go to confidential?
Propose it.
Seconded, John Boyle.
Who proposed?
Alan Breslin.
Alderman Breslin, seconded by Councillor Boyle. Moving to confidential. Firstly, item 10. Are we ready to move to confidential?